Looking at, well, a couple of really critical global tensions based on the articles and notes you've shared. We're aiming to unpack the rising heat between Israel and Iran and also shine a light on the conflict in Yemen, which often gets overlooked. Get ready for some, frankly, surprising connections and context. Okay, so first up, Israel and Iran. This tension isn't exactly breaking news, right?
Yeah.
But the sources suggest it's become significantly more serious in 2025.
Right. It's definitely escalated. And what's really striking in the sources is less about new arguments and more about how entrenched the narratives are on both sides. You have Israel focusing heavily on Iran's nuclear program, suspected weapons development, and its support for groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. That's their consistent frame.
Okay.
And then conversely, Iran frames its actions very differently. It's about protecting its interests, self-defense, and crucially supporting Palestinians against what they term occupation.
And it feels like a cycle where each action justifies the next reaction.
Exactly. It's almost a textbook example of a security dilemma, amplified by these deep-seated perspectives.
And in the last few months, we've seen this play out through cyber attacks, drone strikes, various military moves. But here's something really interesting we found digging through the sources. A lot of the stuff going viral online, videos of explosions, airstrikes, turns out quite a bit of it was fake, AI generated.
Yes, that's a huge point in the materials. It really underscores this modern challenge. The weaponization of information, especially disinformation, during conflict. We're talking deepfakes, completely fabricated scenes. It's not just fake news anymore.
Right.
It spreads fear, confusion, anger incredibly fast, especially on social media platforms.
It makes critical thinking, sorting fact from fiction, almost a frontline defense for everyone.
Absolutely essential.
So while a lot of global attention is understandably on Israel and Iran, there's another major conflict continuing, often much more quietly. Let's shift focus to Yemen.
Yes, Yemen. The conflict there really kicked off back in 2015. And tragically, it's created one of the world's absolute worst humanitarian disasters. Yet, as you said, it often flies under the radar.
So who are the main players again, according to the sources?
Primarily, it's the Houthi rebels, who our sources consistently note are backed by Iran.
Ah, there's that connection again.
Exactly. And they're fighting the Yemeni government, which is supported by Saudi Arabia and several other countries. It's partly a proxy war, mirroring those larger regional rivalries.
And we've seen reports, recent ones, of journalists and civilians killed in drone attacks, missile strikes. It's brutal. But why? Given the scale you mentioned, the humanitarian crisis, why does it seem so ignored by global media compared to other conflicts?
That's a critical question the sources grapple with. There isn't one single answer, it seems. Factors include perhaps Yemen's geographic isolation, the sheer complexity of all the different factions involved. It's hard to report on easily.
Makes sense.
And maybe, just maybe, a degree of what you might call conflict fatigue in the international community. It's a tough reality.
And the human cost is just staggering. The figures mentioned are, over 20 million people needing aid?
That's right, over 20 million, facing hunger, disease outbreaks like cholera, a severe lack of clean water. Children are incredibly vulnerable. It's a catastrophe by any measure.
So bringing this all together for you, the listener, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, these are terrible, but they're far away. Why should I care?
Well, it's because these conflicts, they don't happen in a vacuum. They have real, tangible ripple effects across the globe. Think about global oil prices. Instability in the Middle East almost always impacts energy markets.
Right, the choke points for shipping.
Exactly. Trade routes, too. Then there are migration patterns, people displaced by war seeking safety elsewhere. And on a bigger scale, these conflicts shape international relations, how powerful countries interact, alliances, rivalries. They can be precursors to larger wars. They absolutely influence global peace, or the lack of it.
So it's all interconnected. What happens there does eventually touch us here in ways we might not immediately see.
Precisely. Understanding these dynamics isn't just academic, it's about understanding the forces shaping our world.
This deep dive really highlights that interconnectedness, doesn't it? And maybe points to a responsibility we all have as, global citizens. To stay informed, yes, but also to be critical consumers of information, to question what we see, especially online, and try to share things truthfully.
That ability to discern is key.
Because knowing this stuff, it empowers you. It helps you understand the ripples, the context behind the headlines. We really hope this deep dive helps you navigate these very complex issues with a bit more clarity. Keep thinking globally. Keep asking questions.